Early in 2013, I undertook the daunting task of revising my 1973 clarinet concerto, which was originally written as my doctoral dissertation in composition at Florida State University. It was played there once in the spring of 1974 and then promptly fell into the dustbin of academic obscurity, where it languished for 4 decades until at last I returned to disturb its slumber. When I first dug it out and began to get reacquainted with it, I quickly realized that in its original shape, as the work of a graduate composition student who still had much to learn about writing in large forms, this concerto needed a fair amount of revision. At first, it felt like I was taking the axe to someone else's work, which made me uncomfortable. Eventually, I made peace with this feeling and conceded that it was indeed originally written by someone else. But since I am the direct descendant of that person, I need feel no guilt about tearing his work apart and rebuilding it. The clarinetist with whom I had worked while writing the piece and who played it at FSU had told me that in the clarinet concerto literature that he was acquainted with, only the one by Danish composer Carl Nielsen is more difficult for the soloist. But I decided at the outset of my revision project that I would not ease off on the solo part, so I left it largely intact, minus cuts. After all, I had worked with an excellent clarinetist who pronounced it, while very challenging, completely idiomatic for the instrument, so I didn't want to mess with it. But what I did need to do was overhaul the form of the composition, reorchestrate much of it, and cut out several minutes of unnecessary material until I had a cohesive work that made musical sense. And I have to say it was quite an enlightening challenge wrestling it into shape. It went through several revisions over the nearly 2 years that I struggled with it, alternating between periods of intense work and resting in the wine cellar, before I was finally satisfied and declared it finished.